Because crypto Twitter are full of the biggest degenerate losers on the planet. It is the lazy person's dream to buy a coin, it blow up, then be rich with no work, no net benefit to the universe. Crypto Twitter is full of degenerate losers, and I love to play games with them because they would love to be Bitcoin because they make a bunch of money. I don't need money, so I refuse to sell out my fans for money. I am not Logan Paul. I will not do that. These are lazy idiot people, and they hide behind their little cartoon display pictures, and they just want to scam money. They don't want to do any real work. The worst thing that can happen to them is that they actually get rich, because then they become mega losers. So when I talk about crypto, I'm just poking the autists, just poking, having fun with them. What kind of loser are you to make some money from an internet digital money and then make it your profile picture and change your display name? Imagine I became Bitcoin.eth. Putting up a Bitcoin symbol. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. That's you? That's your personality? That's everything you are? There's one guy who yells all the time. I don't know where he's from. Bitcoin. You are never, ever gonna have a woman who loves you. Not truly. Not deep in her heart. I would argue we could line up 10,000 of them here on the street, and I would face them all in Mortal Kombat one by one. And I guarantee, I might be a little bit out of breath, when the 10,000th man falls in a lifeless pile on the floor, you will understand why I prod crypto Twitter. No way. People were saying to me, yo, but you don't understand, it's not just a JPEG, bro. It's on the blockchain, bro. And you can see on Etherscan who owns it. You are never gonna be loved by a woman. Ever. She'll look at you and go, I guess I kind of have to. It's been a few months. Sorry, crypto Twitter. You know what the funniest thing is? I'm not done with these nerds. The money's a scam because of the blockchain. Nakamoto, Satoshi. Shut the fuck up. You're broke. Nobody cares. Buy new shoes. Your shoes are all dirty. Tie your shoelaces. Get a job.
Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and he's not wrong. If we're being honest, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Listen, welcome to Monday. Welcome to the week. As always, not a great deal has changed since the weekend. Before we get on to today's episode, I've got some nice Bitcoin charts to show you and a couple of other nice things that I want to point at and just remind us what we're looking for this week. But before then, I've got a few fishing trips planned in the second week of March, and I would like to ensure that you have some daily content to watch, start to record a couple of things and put them in the bank and set them to upload for those days that I'm going to be out fishing. So if anyone has got something they want me to cover, one of the videos I've already recorded and given to the members, they've already seen it, and that was called something along the lines of how to manage risk in trading using a couple of rules that I use. So that's going to be coming out. But like I said, if there's anything else you want me to cover, if there's anything that is not time sensitive, throw it down in the comments and I'll have a go over it. I'll just say this now, okay? It's probably not going to be a surprise to you, but don't waste your time asking me to cover some altcoin or do a deep dive into, okay? No. Anyway, welcome to the week, welcome to Monday. Bitcoin, remember, is a self-repairing, self-healing network. And do you remember not too long ago, we heard the Bitcoin is broken because fees are too high for people to use it? Do you remember all of that from the ordinals and spamming the chain and blah, blah, blah? Well, as it stands right now, the fees are back to normal. All is right with the world, okay? Eventually, people run out of money and they can't afford to keep spamming the network, or they just simply lose interest. Remember, every attack on Bitcoin makes it stronger. We are now back, okay? We're now back, and with the pendulum having swung from fees are too high, nobody can actually use Bitcoin, and away from the right-hand side, we are now, of course, swinging towards the left-hand side, where sooner or later it will be Bitcoin is broken because the fees are too low for future security budget. So another observable pendulum in the Bitcoin and financial world. All jokes aside, though, it is nice to have these fees back to normal because whilst it doesn't tend to affect people in the more developed countries, remember, there are many people out there in third world countries that really, really need Bitcoin. They need Bitcoin to transact because they don't have banks. They need permission to get hold of bank accounts and special IDs. And an awful lot of people are unbanked and rely on this. Many of these countries have very corrupt governments and they can't actually keep their money anywhere without having the risk of the government seizing and freezing it. So for many people, Bitcoin really is the solution, and we take that for granted in the first world countries. When people spam the network because they want to make some clout online as trolling the network or as jacking the fees up or for whatever silly reason they do it, and they don't realize that what they're doing is actually quite unethical and it's forcing these third world countries to have to suffer ridiculously high fees, okay? So it's nice to see this back to reality. It's nice to be back to an ethical source of finance. Over in the charts, I continue to beat the same old drum, don't I? More and more charts look bullish, more and more charts point to potential further upside in the not too distant future for Bitcoin. The Ichimoku, Tekken Sen, and Kijun Sen crossover has never actually given a bad signal. Now, it hasn't fired yet, but it looks to me like it's getting ready to. And of course, when it does, it tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes walking forward, just like here and here, of course. It's also worth pointing out that this 5-wave Elliott count is not invalidated, because the fact that wave 4 never retraced into wave 1 territory gives increased confidence that wave 5 is indeed coming. And you can see that here. The fact that wave 4 never retraced into wave 1 territory tells us that wave 5 is on the table. The thing I like the most about this is it has confluence with that left translated cycle idea of mine. Again, another idea that tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes for Bitcoin walking forward. Kush here. Been a while since I've covered any of Kush's charts, but take a look at this, okay? The technical target of this breakout structure is 165k Bitcoin. Also worth noting, this, if it's to play out, tells us we should be somewhere in the neighborhood of the 150, 160k region by the middle of this year. Okay, so again, not a lot of people are ready for that in my humble opinion. I found this and I thought this was really nice to see. Okay, if we price Bitcoin in gold instead of US dollars, then what we have, if you can see this faint blue line here, this horizontal blue line, okay, we had resistance, resistance, and now flipped into support, potentially looking to resume to the upside. If you've been on my channel before, you will have probably be well aware that I am planning to exit a large portion of my Bitcoin into gold if we can get up into the 100 ounces per Bitcoin neighborhood. So far though, objectively speaking, breakout, retest, looking for that resumption higher. Again, tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected performance for Bitcoin walking forward. Over in traditional finance, I found this and I thought this was absolutely hilarious, okay? Where were you when you first realized that Nvidia and the cocoa bean are in essence the same trade, okay? Here they are overlaid, and again, it says, no, really. Take a look at this, okay? So, pretty funny that people focus so much on this AI movement and people seem to get real bad FOMO when they see a parabola, but it just goes to show that there's always a pump, right? And there's never any reason to feel FOMO. One last thing I wanted to point out before we pop into some charts is the S&P closing at a record high of 5088 is exciting, but adjusted for inflation, we don't actually reach a new all-time high for the S&P until 5285 spot 31. So again, priced in the debasement of fiat currency, there are still, to date, only two things that actually increase your purchasing power over time, and that is big tech and Bitcoin. Of course, it is important to notice this because whilst the number in your S&P 500 account, or ETF tracker, I should say, might be going up, you actually are still not any richer than you were back in January of 2022. So, as I said at the start, not a great deal has changed because it's Monday morning, but is that or is that not an encouraging look at the hard right edge for the DXY, okay? Tells me to keep an open mind about seeing that decline into that 3-year cycle low. And of course, if we can do this, that should be conducive to a nice risk-on moment. Bitcoin still holding up pretty well, isn't it? So maybe some kind of pullback to, I don't know, 48-ish, and then a resumption of the uptrend, that would be fine. Pretty sure we're going to end up accepting the right-hand count and therefore excluding. In fact, I'm going to get a pen and just do this. I think this is what we're going to end up accepting in the not too distant future. So keeping an eye on that. As I was saying at the weekend, looking to add a Mara position if we get an opportunity. I would like to perhaps see something more like this and then a push off, and that would be a really, really nice entry if we can get it. Also, as I said at the weekend, still looking to short gold, but I need to see this upward sloping red support line break down. Something like this yellow squiggle suggests right here. Perhaps if I move this to here. Something like that, okay? If we can get that, then we'll short, and of course I'll let you know if you're a member in the members section. Of course, we are looking to figure out which one of these two scenarios is going to play out for the stock market. Are we going to get a sharp sell-off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday and Friday into a cycle low and thus confirm that the cycle low is not yet in? Or are we going to continue to push up here? And if that is the case, of course, we will have to confirm that we got an early cycle low back here. So it should be pretty obvious. It should be pretty obvious within about 2 or 3 sessions whether or not we've missed the cycle low and we need to adapt to that, or whether indeed the cycle low is not yet in. And if it's not yet in, then of course we will have some dip buying opportunities ahead of us. Last but not least, still looking to short oil if we can get a trend line breakdown. I've been meaning to clean this trend line up, this yellow squiggle of mine, excuse me, for some time, but I wanted to do it live on the channel so that no one could accuse me of trying to fudge the numbers. So we're just going to clean this arrow up, this squiggle of mine, sorry, up. I'm going to do this. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and delete the rest of it. There you go. That looks an awful lot better, doesn't it? So you can't accuse me of fudging it or anything like that, or moving the goalpost at this point. So there we go. That's a bit cleaner. This is what we're looking for. Upward sloping red support line. Get that trend line breakdown, and I think it'll be time to start shorting this thing. For those of you that are interested in cycle theory, note that this will be a right translated cycle, followed by, if I'm right, a left translated cycle, then a succession of left translated cycles into the next weekly cycle low. So that would be, of course, a textbook bearish cycle as opposed to the right, left that we normally see in a bullish cycle. Just something to keep in mind. Of course, if we hold this support and bounce off like a lot of people seem to think, then I'll just stay out of the way of this and I don't know what I'm talking about. So that is pretty much it from me. Short and sweet as always. Like I said, I'll continue to update you on a daily basis and we'll try and figure out what we're going to do in terms of modifying and adding or removing positions. Like I said at the start, please do let me know what you want to see whilst I'm out fishing or if there's anything you want me to cover. In the meantime, I hope you're all doing well in life. Welcome to the week. Let's get it. Until next time, I'm your boy Camel. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.